and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore, and I hope that you are enjoying this beautiful weekend with the temperatures in the high 70s to the low 80s. It is so nice outside. This is perfect fall weather. You couldn't ask for a better day. But let's move on. I want to, before we start, give out my URLs for the show. The first one is, of course, my Spreaker account. It is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. My social media, Facebook, is https www.facebook.com/Vivian E. Moore. My Twitter handle is God's Property 46, and my Instagram, if you want to check me out on Instagram, that is https://instagram.com/God's Property 51. And if you want to check out my website, please do. That is http://vivianemore.wix.com/author Vivian E. Moore. Oh, and also my email address if you want to send me notes or messages or whatever. And then you can also interact with the show. You can chat with me while I am live. But my email address is vivianemore@icloud.com. All right. Let's move on to today's topic, and it is homegrown, local, and renowned authors. When you think of homegrown, my mind, immediately goes to things produced locally, such as tomatoes, greens, fruits, and other veggies, even trees and flowers. Who doesn't like anything homegrown? There is nothing better than products grown in your own backyard or on a farm for that matter. There is a sense of pride associated with the words local and homegrown. Now be honest with me. I feel it. And I know you do too when we see individuals of our community acknowledged on television, radio, or magazines. We can't help the elation of being connected and identify with our counterparts on a definable level, positive or negative. Whether we know them personally or not, but they represent who we are geographically, socially, and culturally. As Southerners, we possess a deep-rooted alliance when it comes to our historical presence in the South. And I mean this literally and figuratively. However, I am not talking about produce today, folks, but writers and authors. Still, products of the South in particular, and Chattanooga in general, but this region of the country on a broader level has a plethora of writers and authors, virtually unknown talent right here inside this beautiful city and the surrounding area. This is why I love doing this show, because it gives me the opportunity and pleasure of introducing other authors and to help them build a platform for their work. Not that they need my assistance, but it's about identifying with other writers, a common interest, and like-minded determination to do what we do that compels me to recognize and mention them. There are several local organizations, the CWG, for example, or better known as Chattanooga Writers Guild, which salutes local talent, They meet once a month, and they have a newsletter that communicates what the association is all about. Just to discover more about them, you can check out their website at www.chattanoogaWritersGuild.org for more detailed information. Then there is the SOLIT, better known as Southern Literary Alliance, who are dedicated to building literacy through the writing arts. And, if you want to, you can also check them out at www.southernalliance.org. And to learn more about what they offer in the way of cultivating local talent. Now, I mention these two organizations because they highlight local authors and they spread the word about what's new and upcoming when it comes to writers and books. They showcase the authors through events at the library and other marketing festivals. Be sure to check out the web addresses I shared with you if you want to know more about these organizations and what they offer to authors and writers, and for the general public who wants to be aware of what's going on in this line of business. Okay, let's move on to the actual local authors, and there are two that I will mention by name. The first one is K.B. Ballantyne. She is an author and poet who won the Libba Moore Gray Award for Poetry in the 2016 KWG Writing Contest, with her poem, Permanence Has Nothing to Do with Love. And then this young lady is a local writer, and her name is Dorothea Richardson. She is a Christian sci-fi writer, and she has a new book titled Before I Wake. This book is out, and it's available now at Amazon.com in all formats. This is her debut novel. So show her some love by going out there on Amazon and in other online bookstores to purchase her book Before I Wake. Now, I just read a little about the book. I haven't read it. It is on my to-read list. But what I did read is very interesting. So check out her book, available on Amazon.com. There are so many more artists, but I wanted to focus on these two in particular, not because they are female, but because they are my most recent picks to do well in their chosen field, and I wish the best for them. And also, if you desire to know more about Chattanooga writers, then you need to check out the magazine Poet and Writers, who give a detailed list of authors from this and surrounding areas. Now, I do receive their newsletters on a monthly basis. And as I said about the other two, this magazine is very informative about authors and about publishers that are seeking new talent. So if you want to receive the newsletter, then you can definitely just look up Poet and Writers. You can Google them and it'll bring up their website, and it'll tell you everything that you want to know or need to know about what they offer in this magazine. Now, when I speak of homegrown, I would be remiss if I left out those writers and authors who have contributed much in the way of Southern literature. And they may not have actually been a product of the South, but have written books that capture the true Southern experience. Let's start with Alice Walker. We are all familiar with her epistolary novel and later adaptation to the big screen and musical of her best-selling book, The Color Purple. one of my favorite books. I love The Color Purple. And remember when it first came to the movies, and of course, I didn't see it when it came out at the movies, but I saw it later on video, and I was just blown away by the story. And then later, I read the book, and let me just say that there is a big difference, as is associated with most novels. When they are adapted to screenplays, they change things around. But the footprint of the story is the same, but some things were changed just a little bit. So I know many have seen the movie, but you might want to check out the book and read it, because it's slightly different from the movie. So, that's just a little FYI. But anyway, that book won the 1983 Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award for Fiction. This book is a depiction of life in the South, and it focuses on sexual abuse, as well the relationship between two sisters. Through letters, Nettie, Celie's sister, communicates the happenings of her life as a missionary in Africa. Though Celie doesn't learn of the letters until much later in her life, but she is able to reconnect with her sister through the vivid details of what she is experiencing from those letters. And if you are familiar with the book, again, and the movie, then you already know the story, so I don't need to tell you anything more about that. And then there is Zora Neale Hurston. Zora Neale Hurston is one of my sheroes when it comes to writing, and I use her name, her last name, quite a bit in some of my characters in the books that I've written, because her name is very prominent, and it spoke to me. And like I said, I try in some small way to pay homage to these writers who have come before me, who have paved the way as Black writers. So I try to give them their due by using their names in a positive way. But anyway, Zora Neale Hurston is another African American novelist of more than 50 published short stories, plays, and essays. And she is best known for her 1937 novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God. Zora Neale Hurston, considered one of the preeminent writers of the 20th century for African American literature. Now, Toni Morrison is top 5 on the list of my favorite authors, and is another worthy recipient of the Pulitzer Prize for Literature. Her novel, Beloved, is a post-Civil War and inspired story of an African American slave by the name of Margaret Garner, who escaped slavery in Kentucky to the free state of Ohio. Now, Miss Morrison, whose government name is Chloe Anthony Wofford, was also born in Ohio. Though born in this free state of the North, she is well acquainted with the trials and tribulations of what it meant to be Black during this time in the South. So I had to add her to the list of homegrown. I know that title speaks of something that's local, but the subject matter to me is homegrown, because it's all related. We're talking about Southern writers and talking about the South, so their writings are very related to the subject today. But the latest rave in novels adapted to screenplays is Queen Sugar. And this book is written by Natalie Bazile. Now, this movie is like just blazing up the television screen each week because it is featured on, I think it's Oprah's network own, that this series is on every week. And I always try to reconnect with this series by watching it on demand, because it comes on a little late for me, unfortunately, because I am a early riser, so I have to catch it on demand, and which is, it's not a bad thing, but still, I wish I could see it, when it comes on, but I'm still able to see it, so I guess that's the most important thing. But anyway, I've mentioned her before, Natalie Bazile, but she falls along the lines of homegrown because she is a true Southerner and a native of Louisiana, and this is where the storyline takes place also. Now, if you haven't read this book, which is among the most popular on current reading lists, please check it out. It is so worth reading. Now, let's move on to other Southern novelists such as Harper Lee, born in Alabama, and she wrote the mega best-selling novel To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, Miss Lee passed away, I believe it was this year. She passed away. She was in a nursing home. She had several strokes, but she will always be remembered for this book, To Kill a Mockingbird, and which was also made into a movie. I think Gregory Peck was one of the stars in it, one of the main characters of the book. So if you haven't read To Kill a Mockingbird, then you may want to put that one on your reading list, because it is one of those books that are well worth reading. So put that one on your list. Do yourself a favor and do that. Okay, if you are starting to see a trend, don't despair. In the true nature of being politically correct, and if you are a gentleman, then you should have no problem with ladies being first. But hold on while I switch over and give equal time to our male Southern writers. And we're going to start with Samuel Clemens. Now, most of you may not know who he is, but I think you have heard of Mark Twain before. Now, Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, one and the same. Mark Twain was his pen name. But anyway, he was born in Florida. And so I'm just trying to identify his Southern roots. But he penned the controversial novels Huckleberry Finn and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, often called the Great American Novel. These are the most memorable books, as they were often on reading lists for English literary students. Now, another one, Tennessee Williams, who was born in Columbus, Mississippi. He wrote the play The Glass Menagerie. Now, this book was written a very long time ago, and also it was a play, but anyway, it was adapted to a screenplay. I can't remember exactly when, and I don't want to put a date on something if it's not accurate, but I'm thinking it was probably in the mid-40s or somewhere along up in there. But anyway, Tennessee Williams was a virtually unknown writer, but he became very famous very quickly for this four-character play. And if you are an AMC, that is the American Movie Classic channel, if you're an American Movie Classic fan like I am, then you've probably seen the movie, which starred Jane Wyman from the television nighttime soap opera called Falcon Crest. Now, this soap opera came out in, I think, the early 80s, and then it went through probably the early 90s. But but anyway, it was called again Falcon Crest. And if this still doesn't ring any bells, she was also the first wife of then actor and later President Ronald Reagan. So you might want to Google her, because she was a very prominent actress of the time. And for those who are familiar with the soap opera Falcon Crest, then you remember her as the matriarch of that family, and she was very mean. All right, though some may be more familiar with another play by Tennessee Williams, turned into another movie, which is A Streetcar Named Desire. Now, it has one of those popular catchphrases that if you have ever seen that movie, A Streetcar Named Desire, that starred Marlon Brando, then you'll remember the line where he yelled out, "Stella!" It was more to the movie than just that one line, but that was a very memorable line. It was very poignant in that story. But my favorite by Tennessee Williams is Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which was also adapted to a screenplay. And I love this one mostly because I love Paul Newman and Elizabeth Taylor. Both of these great actors have passed on, but we know that they, especially Paul Newman, left a lasting legacy. You can still purchase his products in, which I've seen them in Walmart quite a bit now. I don't know about other stores, but they probably are available there also. But an interesting fact about Mr. Newman, with those salad dressings and pasta sauces and things of that nature, and they are very good, let me just tell you that. But all of those products that are sold in those stores go to charities. So the next time you're in Walmart or whatever your local grocery store is, purchase some of those Paul Newman products, because like I said, all the proceeds go to charities. He didn't pocket any of this money. They are still going to charities, and that's why they are still being produced and are on the shelves of those stores. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of information. Okay, so now that I have your attention, and on a more serious tip, let me direct you to some other very well-known writers and activists of the ages. Let's begin with Booker T. Washington. And I know that most young black folks and old ones know who Booker T. Washington was. And for those of you who don't, then I will give you a quick little education on who he was. He was a Southern-born educator, author, orator, and advisor to presidents of this United States. He also founded the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. His works and contributions to society is vast, and he will always be remembered as one of the most influential leaders and examples of African American excellence. Now, Up From Slavery is the autobiography of Booker T. Washington, which tells of his rise from slavery as a child during the Civil War era. Now, let's move on to another prominent figure, which is Frederick Douglass, who he wasn't born in the South, but he was an African-American social reformer, abolitionist, orator, writer, and statesman, and also a former slave that escaped and became a national leader of the abolitionist movement. Now, I'm not trying to give you a Black history lesson in October, but we're talking about Southern writers and Southern influence, so I had to mention them. And this is, what they wrote on, talking about the South, and they just happened to be slaves, which rose above that condition and went on to be very famous and renowned individuals. So I have to mention them because it is a part of my heritage, and so I'm trying to educate. But I can't mention homegrown and leave out all the other influential individuals who gave me the courage to write and to share, my love of writing with others. And so I want to start, but the list is long, but it's not too long, so I don't want to bore you or lose your attention by reading all of this to you. But I have to give them an honorable mention because each of these writers were very prolific people of all times. And I want to start with James Baldwin, who was also a novelist and essayist and a playwright, a poet, and a social critic who was born in Harlem, New York. But he faced racism and wrote about it through his literary works. Now, one of his notable essays was Notes of a Native Son. This was a nonfiction book, and it is a collection of 10 essays which tackled race in America and Europe. Some of his other essays were book length, too, such as The Fire Next Time, No Name in the Street, and The Devil Finds Work. Now, I know this next author is very popular. And during the 70s, when I was a child, I was like glued to the television for this miniseries that aired on, I think it was ABC, and he is Alex Haley. And he was not a Southerner either, but he was born in Ithaca, New York, but he is the renowned author of Roots. He wrote about slavery, and he also did the autobiography of Malcolm X. He wrote several other books, Queen, Mama Flora's Family, which starred Cicely Tyson. She is another of my favorite actors, and she also portrayed Mama Flora along with Queen Latifah and Blair Underwood, who were also actors in this screenplay. Now, Mr. Haley authored many other notable novels as well, but I think Roots will probably be the most memorable because a lot of African Americans identified with that story because it, although the names were might be different, but still the story is the same as to how we came to be in America. So, we relate to that story, and it's very moving and very true, the events that took place in that story. So, if you've never seen or read the book Roots, you might want to buy that book or either buy that movie and sit down with your family and watch it together and learn something, as a benefit from both reading and watching, because it's really worth spending that time. Very historical, and it would give your children a history lesson on our culture and the things that transpired to bring us to this country. Now, most of the Black writers that I've mentioned today, they also wrote about the affliction of slavery and the effects that still alter our progress to this day. But on a happier note, not only do I love writing and books, but I love history as well, and you can tell that by the authors that I chose today. I love books with substance, and this is why I've mentioned all of the authors who are known for their literary attention to the happenings and conditionings of the South. And yes, I am very proud to be a Southerner, but I also accept the history of what my forefathers and family members experience as fellow Southerners. The South is so rich and filled with undeniable historical facts, and slavery is one of them. The authors that I've shared with you today, they didn't hold back as they told of the racial and social inequalities from both perspectives. They brought to the forefront what the rest of the country were afraid to talk about, and most still are. Despite these deplorable truths, there are so many other enriching facts about the southern region of the country. Our mountains are some of the first things you see when you enter our area of the state, especially now during fall. With the trees changing colors and events of our past, or they're still visible and bear notable markers to commemorate the many battles fought on our soil. So the next time someone mentions homegrown, remember all that I've shared with you today, starting with a few of our local authors and writer associations who promote those talents, as well all of the well-known authors, and many of whom have passed on but left an indelible mark on our society as well history of the South. And I hope the show today has been informative as well helpful as to which books to choose for your reading list if you have them. But I just wanted to share with you these writers and just bring to the forefront again what they wrote about. And remember that most of these writers were born either during slavery or either during those times long after slavery had ended, but still during a time when the country was in turmoil, during dealing with so many racial indifferences and things of that nature. And, and it's still prevalent to this day. We are still battling some of those same issues that took place, back in those times. So this is something that, maybe I may not discuss it all the time on this show, but I do talk about it with friends and family because, as a black person in this country, we see so many things that are unfair, and not everyone understands our plight. They think that we've had so many years to overcome those social injustices that we have experienced throughout the lives of our forebearers and our great grandparents and grandparents and so on. But it also left an indelible mark on us because we can't get past that history because people won't let us, because we are still experiencing some of those same things, and until things change, then we have to talk about it. We have to put it on the table, and whether people want to hear it or discuss it is something that needs to be discussed until a change has come. And I don't know if it will be during my lifetime or my children's lifetime or their children's lifetime, but hopefully before Christ comes back, that hopefully that change will take place. But like I said, I just wanted to share the history with you of those writers, and it just happened to be that they were writers of time past, which has carried over into our present time right now. But on a more happier note, I hope that everyone has enjoyed this day, because as I said at the beginning of the show, it has been absolutely beautiful. So has every weekend oh my gosh, for months now. I can hardly remember a weekend that we had rain, which I know that we need the rain, but still, it's just a beautiful time to get out and just experience the outside. The trees are changing, the beautiful oranges and reds and browns. It's if you are a lover of nature, then this should be your time of the year, and it really is my time of the year because I love the fall foliage, and looking forward to Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I hope that you will listen to the show, that you will tell your friends about the show, that you will, if you don't interact with me live on the show, that you will share your comments on today's show and past ones. And like I said, the episodes are uploaded as soon as the show is over. For those who can't listen to it live, they can listen to the recorded episodes once they are uploaded. And I look forward to always being able to bring you topics that are on a social level, that are very prevalent to to what's going on in the country right now. But more so, I just want to talk about books, my love of books and writing, and I want to uplift other authors, and that was my main reason for sharing the two that I talked about earlier in the program, and hope that you will check out their works and see for yourself. And to help boost their careers if you can, by going out there, buying those books and leaving your comments. And coming back to my show, I ask that you would also leave comments, like me on Spreaker and Facebook, also on Twitter. I am also on Pinterest. I have a page out there that's dedicated to my authorship. So I hope that you would check it out, as well as some of the other boards that I have out there on Pinterest as well. And like I said, you can Google me and find me on Pinterest and all the other social media websites. I hope that you have enjoyed today's show. I have so much enjoyed bringing this discussion to the table, and I hope that you would check out some of the authors that have gone on now. Excuse me. But still, their work is still socially conscious and prevalent to today. But until next week, because we have run out of time, I hope to talk with you and to enlighten you more on books and authors and other discussions. But until that time, I just want to say, hug someone and tell them that you love them. Go out and worship tomorrow. Tomorrow is our family and friends day at our church. I hope to see many people there to come out and fellowship with us, but more importantly, to receive the word of God and just let it permeate your spirit and not be hearers of the word, but also doers. And until next week, I just want to say have a beautiful weekend and God bless.